Weight obsession gone too far. Did anyone here eat too much last weekend? 4th of July weekend barbecues. I know if you're like me, you ate far too much this weekend and you're probably wondering, how am I going to get the weight off? So we all eat 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we have to eat healthy and exercise to maintain a healthy body weight, or what is socially acceptable as thin. And some people, they eat and they worry too much about their weight, and it gets to their head, and once that gets to your head and it starts to bother you, you can develop an eating disorder, anorexia being one of the worst. I'm a recovering anorexic. I am a survivor of anorexia nervosa. After physical and psychiatric therapy, I began to question, why do people develop such diseases? Why do people become anorexic? And I became interested in the topic, and I studied it myself, and I also study at Kaiser University. I've taken 3 psychology classes so far, and I just feel like if I explain the signs to watch for an eating disorder, then we can stop it before it starts. Addiction consumes your life, and being an anorexic is an addiction. Eating disorders are an addiction. It's a gradual process that gets worse and worse. According to mentalhealth.net, there are serotonin levels in our body that control our emotion, our judgment, our eating, and that part of our body. And once that gets unbalanced, that's when eating disorders do develop. So today I'd like to educate on the signs to watch for in an eating disorder or an anorexic by avoiding the biological aspects, to watch for obsession with weight and food, the fear of gaining the weight, and a distorted body image. We can stop the disease before it starts. Like I said, I don't want to get all scientific. I just want to talk about the important signs of watching for it. Obsession comes in all varieties, and we very rarely does it ever lead to anything good. Now, the first sign is obsession with weight. It can start with a weigh-in. You get mad at the numbers you see, and then you continuously weigh yourself. It's a repeated process. And then you get an obsession with food. You eat regularly, and then you might eat more lightly, and then more lightly, and more lightly, until you just stop eating food altogether. There's an in-denial level of consciousness in your mind. There's nothing wrong with what you're doing. That's how they see that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with not eating any food. And it's like a huge unwillingness to maintain a healthy body weight. All of us can say that we've had a fear or two, afraid of this or afraid of that. And the second thing I would like to talk about is the fear of gaining weight. So now once the weight is gone, it's very stressful to try and stay thin and keep your body weight down. And once you become obsessed with that weight, you have a constant fear of gaining that weight back. So you stop eating food altogether. There is no judgment. You have, because of the serotonin levels being unbalanced, you don't know what is healthy or not healthy. And you get anxious because anorexic would rather not eat any food than even consume one tiny little calorie, because it is a serious disease. Now imagine yourself like at a clown house when you see all the different mirrors, and you go into one, and one is your head's all skinny, the next your head is all short. For example, you look into a regular mirror, and that's how you see yourself. Normal. Oh, yes. And now imagine yourself looking at yourself in this mirror. It's just completely distorted. And that's what it is like to see yourself as an anorexic. You don't get it. You don't see what that mirror is showing you. And so the last thing I'm going to talk about is the distorted body image. Now, psychologytoday.com explains self-esteem as confidence in one's own self, or also known as self-respect. With anorexics, there is a denial of the low body weight. There is no self-esteem or self-respect because they don't have the ability to judge themselves. They don't have the ability to see normally. There are changes that happen in the body, and they can't even see that. So anorexics might have a yellowish skin color, or super dry skin, damaged or thin hair, thinning nails, organ failure, lungs, liver, kidneys. They can become infertile, and there is lethargy, which is when you're extremely tired. You're not getting in any proteins or any nutrients, so your body doesn't have any energy to give off. You're just always tired and sluggish. And knowing these will certainly detect anorexia and any other eating disorders. And we can help stop it before it starts if we watch for obsession with weight and food, the fear of gaining weight, and a distorted body image. And the stress of staying healthy can take a toll on one's mindset. So once they lose the serotonin and your body becomes unbalanced, it ultimately leads to that eating disorder, and anorexia is the worst. Think about the ones close to you, watch for these things, and let's stop it before it starts.